5th.
So Hamilton just giving feisty physical a bit of a squeeze when he got down there, left him enough room though, but just to put him off a little bit, and the track's beginning to come to, there's less spray out there now, beginning to come to the drivers. They're doing 1:35. Where do you think the cut-off point is, James, before they need intermediates?
Keep pushing, Sebastian, you're doing well. Balance when you can, balance when you can.
Tell me the balance of the car when you can. What do you want at the pit stop? We think I think he's coming in about 18 laps into the race. Of course, with 2 safety car laps, they will have used less fuel during that time, so they might be able to extend that another lap. And it might work out. I mean, they're going to have a tough call at Toro Rosso. Which tyres do they put him back out on? That's the beauty for the one-stoppers. Their window of opportunity to stop and move to the right tyre at the right time is much greater.
It certainly is. We're riding on board with Toyota, just problem slowing itself down. Now listen, no traction control, listen to this. You hear the engine just topping out. In the old days, it had that awful crackling sound because the traction control would stop the rear wheels from spinning. This, of course, is the first year since it was banned, and it was these kind of conditions that all the drivers were asking questions about. How would they handle it without traction control? They all seem to have handled it very well indeed. What's interesting, Martin, now is that already Vettel in the lead is a pit stop ahead of Alonso in 7th place. So as you can look at Hamilton going up the inside of Kimi Raikkonen, that is the pass for 11th place by Lewis Hamilton into the first Lesmo, and that's a critical pass for the story of this race.
It is. It'd be nice to see how he lined that up, where that came from, and look how quickly he's moving away. Hamilton is now finally beginning to get somewhere near the race-leading pace. Bourdais is the fastest man in Sector 1 of anybody. He started having stalled on the grid, and he's a lap down, unfortunately, because it was a safety car start. And Hamilton just romping away as he finally found some confidence. And he said after qualifying, I just couldn't find the braking points. Well, that's not Lewis Hamilton in the way, is it? Here we go. He caught him up on the way into the second chicane. Look, just got better purchase, better drive out of that chicane and into the first Lesmo. Had track position and a pretty textbook pass there. A little bit of oversteer through the exit. That is Felipe Massa, who's 5th at the moment. And Rosberg's just passed. No, Rosberg was in front of Massa. They're fighting over 4th and 5th place. All critical, of course, for the World Championship.
Well, there's plenty more action to come here at Monza. Vettel is driving away at the front, almost 7 seconds now, clear of Heikki Kovalainen. Webber is 3rd in a watching brief. 4th is Rosberg, about to come under some pressure, I think, from Massa.
Quite big degradation. Copy.
That's significant. He's saying that the degradation, these full wets are beginning to go up. Look, Massa looking for wet track instead of using the drier line. So we're getting close. We're doing 1:35. We're getting close to the crossover point of thinking of using intermediates, but they don't want to take too big a risk on that.
Yeah, it's coming soon, the moment at which the tyres will have to be changed. We are only 13 laps into this extraordinary already Italian Grand Prix. Lap 14 of the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. And this is Felipe Massa. What's he doing here? He's certainly getting on with it now as Rosberg goes past him. Just a moment ago, Felipe Massa passed Nico Rosberg, and I wonder if he's giving him the place back. You didn't think he cut the chicane. Here comes Hamilton. This is a pass he's just made on Nick Heidfeld. Did he cut the chicane to gain advantage there?
No, that's the line they're using, wet or dry. Anyway, I didn't think Massa cut the chicane, but maybe he's been told by his team to give the place back anyway. We haven't seen anything up on the screen. They do have communication with the race director. Now he's lining himself up again. Unless this is not a replay, I don't think, but we've seen so much action between these two. And Massa takes the slot back then from Nico Rosberg. That's for 4th place. Meanwhile, Hamilton's come alive and started to move forward as well. He's already nailed Heidfeld, as we saw in the replay. And he's coming up now behind Timo Glock, who's currently in 9th place. So suddenly, Hamilton beginning to look as if he can get some points. Now, Coulthard puts a move up the inside of Fisichella. Fisichella bumps into the rear tyre of Coulthard and just loosens his front wing. and a little bit later in the lap, you're going to see that front wing coming off, going underneath the car, so he has no braking ability, and straight into the wall, but obviously quite lightly. So Fisichella out of the race. Now watch this pass from Massa. It goes around the outside of Rosberg. Very bold move. It looked to me like he kept two wheels, or certainly that was a line that they take in the dry.
Well, Hamilton has also taken a place, going up over the top of the chicane as well. No message yet on the boards. Nobody is. There is a message that if the driver misses the apex of a corner, it gets noted, but nothing about car 22 missing the apex. So we will see if there's any fallout from that pass. Meanwhile, here is Robert Kubica, who's been toiling a little bit this weekend. Not his usual feisty self, Kubica. In the drive, I think a lot of people fancied him for at least a podium here, because BMW did a lot of development work on their low downforce package, but it hasn't really been dry all weekend. A few minutes of dry running on Friday afternoon is all we've had. Everything else has been done in the wet. Meanwhile, here comes Hamilton on Glock.
Hamilton then, Glock's got the better, grippier braking line, but Hamilton's found some braking confidence, and Glock is not going to give it to him. Hamilton has to leave space, otherwise he'll just be spun around, and he's got it done. Can Glock find better traction on the inside, off the racing line? Hamilton's good. And Hamilton then, Glock runs out of road. Bit rude there from Lewis Hamilton. Whether he knew he was there or not, I don't know. You can't see a lot in your mirrors. You can't see anything in your mirrors in these conditions, but the Glock definitely getting pushed wide onto the grass.
Shades of Schumacher from Lewis Hamilton, but he makes the pass work. Up through past Timo Glock, and he is now up in the 9th place, and on the back of 8th place Robert Kubica. Vettel leads by 10.5 seconds now in the Toro Rosso. What an amazing performance by him. He's already a pit stop ahead of Felipe Massa in the Ferrari. Vettel putting himself into contention to actually win this Grand Prix. Long way to go yet, 37 laps, but I don't think he or Gerhard Berger or anybody at Toro Rosso would have imagined an opening stint like this for Sebastian Vettel.
I'd be sure Hamilton didn't know Glock was there, because Glock got such good grip out of that corner, and all the spray that comes off your front and rear tyres, you see nothing in your mirrors at all. All you see is just a white spray. They're moving around the pieces there on the racetrack that came off the front wing of Fisichella's Force India. Another new fastest lap of the race now by Felipe Massa, 1:34.9. We're beginning to home in, and I mean, Lewis is not looking in his mirrors. He's just moving through the racetrack. That's quite a long camera angle, but clearly it forced Glock onto the grass.
And the reason why Massa is having to get on with it is precisely because he is a pit stop, or was a pit stop behind Vettel. He needs to be sure that when Vettel comes out after his first stop in probably 2, 3 or 4 laps from now, that Massa is in front of him. So important laps now for Massa if he's going to try and win this Grand Prix. Kovalainen is not really living with Vettel as Hamilton passed Kubica and up into 8th place, finally in a points position now.
Well, he's found his braking points now, that's for sure. That's more what we're used to seeing. I mean, what on earth Lewis was doing in qualifying yesterday. Even despite taking the wrong tyres, he still was nowhere near his normal pace out on the track. Michael Schumacher there looking quite perplexed, because Raikkonen is still down in 12th place for Ferrari, also going looking nowhere. Listen to Alonso.
More rain expected in 5 minutes, and it will be for a long time. More rain in 5 minutes for a long time.
Well, that helps. That very much helps Toro Rosso and others that are moving into their pit stop window now, because look at that, just flashing past from Hamilton. But those moving into their pit stop window know they've got to put wets on. That's 2 teams we've heard telling us heavy rain on the way. That's a good move from Hamilton, totally fair.
Yeah, we've got different strategies at play here. We have a few two-stoppers amongst the cars that were at the front of the grid, imagining certainly Vettel, Webber possibly, Kovalainen. But we know that Massa, we think that Massa's only going to stop once here this afternoon. So certainly the heavier the rain, it would appear to favour Sebastian Vettel. He's driving beautifully at the front. He's just set his fastest first sector of the race so far, and he's simply driving away from the McLaren of Heikki Kovalainen. 11 seconds the margin. Massa on that last lap was 0.3 quicker than Vettel in 4th place. He's 26.5 seconds behind. Kovalainen still 2nd, Webber still 3rd. Massa 4th, 5th Rosberg, 6th Jarno Trulli, 7th Fernando Alonso. Oh, he's the next target for Lewis Hamilton. That'll be fun. 8th place Hamilton, 9th Kubica, 10th Glock, 11th Heidfeld, 12th, and making heavy weather in the rain here, is Raikkonen, 13th Coulthard, 14th Nelson Piquet, 15th Nakajima, 16th Button, 17th Sutil, 18th Barrichello, and 19th Bourdais, with one car out, that's Fisichella, as the race leader pits.
So what are they going to put on there? The cover said wet. Now these are extreme wets that he's had on. What tyre are they going to put on there? It's another set of wets going on. Seems the only sensible choice, given we think there's a lot more rain coming. So Vettel then, who had just over 11 seconds advantage. And how far can Kovalainen go? We think about another 4 laps.
Massa's just gone through. That was important. Felipe Massa is in front on the road of Sebastian Vettel. Let's get some news from Massa, from Ted Kravitz, as we look, hang on a second, at side-by-side action with Lewis Hamilton, uncompromising again on Fernando Alonso. Piles past him and up into 7th place now. Alonso comes back at him. Can he take him? No, he can't. Hamilton drives out.
Lewis locked a wheel on the way in and just scrabbled around the outside of the corner. He just blew past the Renault, just drove right around the outside of it and pulled in to the optimum braking line. And he's taken 3 seconds out of Alonso in a lap, basically. So Hamilton has just come alive. Welcome to the Grand Prix, Lewis. This is what we're more used to seeing. And that then is, well, that looked very much like a Kubica that had gone across the chicane, and Glock has taken the position.
Yeah, Glock up into 9th, Robert Kubica down to 10th. Fantastic racing action here in these tricky conditions at Monza.
Since Hamilton passed Raikkonen, he's now 6 seconds ahead of him, and all of the passing moves he's made. So this was the position then. The BMW, I think, is going to skate across the tarmac and sensibly lets the Toyota through. That was the position.
Meanwhile, down in 12th place, Raikkonen making no impression. Here's another look at Lewis, passing Alonso.
So he's breezed around the outside of him, and then locked his front left wheel slightly, bumps across the concrete. Here we go again, perfect slipstream. He just drove clean round him. He's got good straight line speed in that. And watch the left front just lock, and he'll run to the edge of the concrete. Ted's got some news.
Yeah, I've just been chasing up this regulatory nightmare about missing chicanes at the second corner, Martin. Apparently the FIA did tell Felipe Massa to give back that place to Rosberg's Williams, so Ferrari let him know that. But also, I mean, wasn't that the same place where Lewis took the BMW? So trouble could be ahead. I hope not, though.
You need a different camera angle, though, because if they kept 2 wheels within the white line, I think it's okay. It's a critical call, because if you watch them in the drive, they all fly across those 2 curbs. So that's the only way to get around Monza, is to literally sort of arrive and drive like Raikkonen has been doing that the whole race, and I think that's the line they were taking when they overtook. I don't think Massa did anything wrong personally, but he's already recovered and passed Rosberg again anyway, but it would have cost him 4 or 5 seconds in the process.
Symbolic gesture, though, after what happened last week in Spa, making Massa go back and do that. Well, I'm sure there'll be an explanation at the end of the race. Meanwhile, Alonso, having been passed by Hamilton, has come alive a little bit. He's the fastest man of anybody in Sector 1, down in 8th place. It's Kovalainen leading. Webber is 2nd. Massa is 3rd. Sebastian Vettel is 4th, having made his first pit stop. Rosberg's 5th. 6th is Jarno Trulli. 7th is Lewis Hamilton, just under half a minute behind his teammate who leads the race. 8th is Alonso. 9th is Glock. And 10th is Robert Kubica. Raikkonen is still stuck in 12th place. David Coulthard is 13th. And Jenson Button is 16th.
Hamilton really homing in on 6th place man Trulli now by 2 seconds a lap, and he was 1.1 behind as he started the current lap. So we hopefully will pick that up somewhere as Alonso starts to come under pressure from Glock. Raikkonen just in the queue, going nowhere. Oh, and a big moment through the exit of Ascari chicane for a clearly very unhappy Kimi Raikkonen.
Well, the Ferrari team made quite a few changes in Parc Ferme. They changed the engine on Massa's car as Glock here has a go at Alonso side by side into the Roger chicane. Makes the clean pass. Timo Glock, who's been quick all weekend in the wet, is now